Well, hello everybody and welcome to Jeff's Baking Blog. Now today I'm going to be making something called Rugelach or Rugelach, depending on how you want to say it, which is a cookie rolled in the shape almost of a croissant, and you can put various fillings in these. Now for my filling I'm going to use hazelnut chocolate spread and chopped hazelnuts, but you could put a layer of jam with some nuts or some chopped fruit or whatever, dried fruit. You can do any fillings you want, chocolate chips, but mine is going to be fairly basic with hazelnuts and the chocolate hazelnut spread. Now for the dough we use cream cheese and butter, and I want this dough to be flaky, and so I'm going to do mine in two stages. I'm going to mix it all together and then I'm going to roll it and fold it. I'll mix it together, chill it, then I'll roll it and fold it a little bit, then I'll chill it again, and then I'll roll it out for use with the cookies. So for the ingredients for the dough, I have 227 grams, that's 8 ounces of cream cheese, 227 grams, that's 8 ounces of butter, and they're at room temperature. I have 290 grams of all-purpose plain flour, that's 2 1/4 cups. I have 1/4 cup, 50 grams of caster sugar. I have 1/4 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract as well, which I'm going to use. So the first thing to do is to cream the butter and the cream cheese together, and I'm going to do that in my stand mixer, and I'm going to add the vanilla extract in at the same time. And I'm going to work that until it's all combined and nice and fluffy. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 1/4 teaspoon of salt and my 50 grams of sugar into my flour mixture. I'm just going to give that a bit of a stir around to get it a little bit combined. And then I'm going to pour all of that into the cream cheese mixture. And I'm going to mix that until it's just come together, or beginning to come together. So that's come together into a nice thick dough. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to chill that for an hour in the fridge, wrapped in plastic wrap. And as you can see, that's a very sticky dough because of all the butter and the cream cheese. But I'm going to just pat that down and form it into a sort of oblong. Like that, and that's good enough. And then I'm going to chill that in the fridge for an hour, and when I come back we're going to roll it out and fold it 3 times just to get some extra flakiness in the pastry, and then I'll chill it again. So I'll come back in an hour. Well, I've let the dough chill in the fridge for an hour, and so I'm now going to roll it out. Now I should say this step isn't absolutely necessary. Having made your dough, you can chill it in the fridge for an hour or 2 hours and then just roll it out once, divide it into 3 portions and roll each portion out individually. But I'm going to roll mine out twice, and that way I can actually introduce some layers. So what I want to do is roll the pastry out to into a sort of rectangle as evenly as I can, and I've floured my work surface and I've floured the pastry because it's still quite sticky. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just try to level that off a little bit. And with that reasonably well levelled off, what I'm going to do is to take 1/3 and fold it up like that, and I'm actually going to just stretch that a little bit. And then take the other 1/3 and put that on as well. And just level that off so that I have a reasonable block. And then I'm going to chill that for another hour. And then after that I'm going to divide it into 3, and I'll roll each of the 3 out so that I can create circles and want to make our rugelach. So I'll be back in an hour when this is chilled once more. So I've let the dough chill for another hour, and what I'm going to do is cut it roughly into thirds. And then I'm going to put 2 of them back into the fridge just for the time being while I work with the other one. And what I want to do is to roll this out until it's about 1/4 inch thick, and then I'm going to cut out a round. Now I have this ring which is 10 inches, but 9 inches would be good enough, and you could use a plate or a cake tin to make the circle. So I have that just about the right size. And I'll cut that like that and discard the offcuts. So I have that cut out like that. Now what I'm going to do is to put some hazelnut chocolate hazelnut spread and some chopped hazelnuts onto the pastry. Now I have here 250 grams of chocolate hazelnut spread, and I have which works out at just about a cupful, and I have 100 grams of chopped hazelnuts, which is slightly under 1 cupful. So what I'm going to do is to spread a layer of the hazelnut spread first of all onto the pastry, but I'm going to leave a gap all around the edge. And I don't want to put too thick a layer because it will melt, and I don't want to make everything too messy as it bakes, but I want enough to be able to taste. I think that should be enough. And then I'm going to sprinkle hazelnuts all over that spread. And just gently pat that down. And then I'm going to cut that into quarters to start with. And then I'm going to cut each quarter into 3. And then with each one I'm going to roll that up like that and put it onto a baking tray. And you can do different sizes, so the next ones I will just make 8 out instead of 12, so that I have different sized ones. And you want to make sure you leave a gap on the baking tray between each one. So I've rolled out my pastry, and I decided for the first one I cut into 16, but then I decided that 8 would be, sorry, I cut into 12, then I decided that 8 would be better. So I've cut the others into 8, and I've re-rolled the offcuts and I've cut those as well. They will still be good, they just may not be quite so flaky. So what I'm going to do now is just brush the tops with a little bit of egg white. And then I'm going to chill them in the fridge while I preheat my oven to 180 Celsius. That's 160 Celsius with a fan, 350 Fahrenheit. And then I'm going to bake them in the oven for about 20 minutes. I will check after 15 minutes just to make sure that they're going a nice golden colour. If they look done at that stage, I'll take them out, but I think 20 minutes is more likely to be the amount of time they need. So I'll chill them as I preheat the oven, then I'll bake them and let them cool down, and I'll come back and show you the results. Okay, well, our arugula are out of the oven and they've cooled down quite a bit. Now, I baked mine for 20 minutes and I thought they weren't quite brown enough, so I left them in for a further 2 minutes. So maybe between 20 and 25 minutes is a better time to bake. I'll put that in the recipe when I put that on my blog. And I should just stress that you can use any filling you want. Very often they put apricot jam with chopped walnuts or pecans and things like that. I guess you could even omit the sugar from the pastry, which I added just for that extra little bit of sweetness, and make a savoury arugula. Now, this is what they look like, and they taste quite good because I've already tasted one, so I'll have a taste of a smaller one. So they look like that, and they do taste very good, and the pastry is lovely and soft and flaky. So that's going to be it for this recipe. I hope you've enjoyed it, and if you have, please give me the thumbs up below the video and click to subscribe on my YouTube channel. In the top right hand corner of the screen there will be an eye that you can click on, which will take you to the recipe, and I'll also put a link to it below the video as well. And I'll be back with another recipe in the very near future. So until then, happy baking.